Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andria Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and Northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
It's going fine. I'm just, I'm bundled up. I'm warm, even though we
Yeah,
have this cold snap, but it won't be the last one that we experience before spring officially arrives. The winter around here doesn't end until April 1st, so
yeah, that's true.
it
Yeah, oh
it
my
it's
God.
it literally this morning it was 78 degrees. By the time I was doing outreach this afternoon down at Government Square, it was 38 degrees. It dropped 40 points.
That's so weird.
And I was downtown at 2:30, and it was no, I take that back. I was downtown at noon for a lunch meeting before I did outreach, and it was dropping. And
Oh
it was
my
just it was,
God.
yes, it was like it was 40 at lunchtime. By the time I got back to my group for outreach, it was 37 degrees
That's
and
so
dropping.
weird.
Yes. Yes. I got sweatpants on right now because I am freezing. Anyway,
All
but
right.
I'm giddy because I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So, and I'm gonna be in 80-degree tropical weather. So
Oh, I am so jelly.
I
Oh my
know.
goodness.
Well, I get to say this. We're cruising because my father, I'm very happy to announce he is turning 90 next during the first week of March.
Wow.
And I've been jokingly telling people because he wants to very easily cruise into his 90s, we're literally taking him on a cruise ship. So he can literally cruise into his 90s.
That's good.
Yes.
That's great. That's
Isn't that
great.
great? Thank
Yeah.
you.
I like
I,
that.
it just came to me one day when I was telling people what we plan to do to help celebrate him because he only turned 90 once.
Oh
And
yeah.
he is so excited. And he and his spouse haven't been anywhere for a while. So they're very, very, very excited that they're going on vacation, they're going on a cruise ship. So basically the goal is we have to have a wheelchair for him because he walks slow now. He can't walk up that steep plank. So we're gonna get there early, get him on the boat, settle down, have a little lunch so he can sit on his balcony and drink his J&B. So
Mm,
that at least that's the goal.
yeah.
Now we'll see what happens, but that is the goal.
All right. All
And
right.
then I'll come back, hit the ground running, and all that good stuff. But anyway, it's been an interesting week. I mean, Saturday we had the South Carolina primary,
Yeah.
and Nikki Haley continues to lose to Donald Trump.
In their own state.
In her own state, which I
Pretty
think
bad.
I don't know what's worse, losing to none of the above or your own home state.
No,
Which
home
one? Which
state. Home state.
home state?
Yeah. That's
I
pretty bad.
I mean, on the scales of justice, so to speak, you're trying to weigh it. Like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's they're about even. But she's slugging along. Still, there's some people who want to support her, and Trump won that, and we'll get to the polling in a second on that. But the big news today, I don't think anyone in Kentucky or Ohio saw this coming. Mitch McConnell stood on the dais in the Senate chamber and announced that he is resigning his position in November.
Surprising, I must say.
Yes, well, he's resigning his leadership position, not
Yeah.
his seat as Senate. I need to
Yeah.
clarify that part. He's
Right.
not going away. He's just won't be the top man anymore, but he'll be the conciliary. What was it with the guy? The concili. Who is the advisor? What's the official role?
I'm not
Conciliary,
sure.
whatever the advisor. So
Right.
he'll probably be the like Nancy Pelosi is to Hakeem Jeffries. Mitch McConnell will be to whoever takes over as leadership. And there are three people who are vying for this spot right now. John Cornyn of Texas has been mentioned. I'm sorry, Senator Thune. I think he's from Arizona. I can't remember which state he's from.
Hmm.
And then there's one more. I forgot. He's a little young guy. Cornyn's been in the Senate for a long time.
Right.
Now, McConnell, who just turned 82 last week.
Oh boy,
Yes,
he's up there.
he's up there. And what's interesting is that he came to the Senate in 1985.
Hmm, really?
Yeah, so that tells you when you've been there that long, you have power
Yeah,
in
oh
that
yeah.
chamber. You've been around a long time.
Oh yeah, most
And
definitely.
he he punctuated in his speech about powerful ideological transition which is underway in the Republican Party. It's no longer the party of Reagan, it's now the party of Trump,
Of course
which
it
is
is.
a fiery extreme. He said he wants the young people to lead, but with Thune and Cornyn vying for his spot, that they're not young, they're just younger.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not of the young people. His Senate term, by the way, ends in January of 2027. So he's not
Gotcha.
going anywhere. He's just stepping down from leadership. And I think he's tired of fighting the crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
and
I
I think
understand that.
and also I think, he's had some health issues. He stood there that one time during the press conference and just stopped talking. Then there was another time he's just stopped talking. And even though we haven't seen it since, he has limited when he talks to the press, and it's very, very quick, and he's out.
Yeah.
Um, I think this is the longest that he's said anything in a long time without an issue. So I think he's going to wait until the election. And I think if I would just say if Trump does not win and they lose both the Senate and the House, he knows they're done.
Yeah.
I think he's seen some tea leaves that he does, and also he doesn't want to be part of what's coming.
Yeah.
If Trump does win, he doesn't want to be part of that crazy.
Oh yeah.
So he has a reputation to uphold.
But yeah, just real quick though. I mean, I think he should really just say he's not going to seek re-election
I think
because I don't want to be ageist or anything, and I don't know his health condition. But I'm just saying it's just leave it to the next generation. Leave it for Gen X, man. Leave it for millennials.
yeah,
It's just
but
like leave it for
remember,
Gen Z. I'm just like because at least because I remember Mitt Romney. He bowed out. He said he wasn't seeking re-election. I admired him for that because he said, it's basically it's a young person's game, and I really respected him for that because it's just like he's. I mean, he might be around in 20 years, but I'm just saying, it's like it's our future. And just like we're the ones who are going to be dealing with all the problems. So I'm just like, why don't we just elect, you know, I'm millennial. It's just like I'm going to be dealing with these problems for the next 30, 40 years. So I'm just like, I don't want to be rude or anything, but most of the boomers aren't going to be around in 30, 40 years. It's like I'm still going to be around. We had to deal with all the crap that's coming, that's being, done right now. And I'm
yeah,
sorry,
because I
go
mean, I
ahead.
mean, I mean, the tail end of the boomers, the last year of the boomers, 64, which is my year, basically we're the last of the baby boomers, but also we're the beginning of, was it Gen Z or millennials?
Yeah, millennial. No,
Millennials,
No, Gen X, and
Gen
then
X.
then millennials, then Gen Z.
Right. So I'm on the fence because I've been partial with baby boomers, then I've been also partial with Gen X
Hmm.
because we're not that far apart in terms of experience and age and thought and things like that. So I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see when it flips. I think the baby boomers have one, maybe two elections left to be of an influence. Then that's it. I think this one and barely maybe the next presidential election they may have influence.
Right.
Then that's it. Then baby boomers will just be a trickle, a small trickle. Then it's Gen X, the millennials, and then our young people nowadays. I forgot what they're called now. I forgot what it is.
I mean the kids right now. I mean the ones under 18 are Generation Alpha.
Oh
So
dear God, really?
yeah, it's Generation Alpha. I think it's all the kids that have been born. Actually, yeah, it's all the kids born after I think 2010. So I'm sorry. So they're basically in high school now. They'll be a voting age in the next,
4 years.
2028. Yeah,
Yep.
4 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my
They'll
God,
be,
I'm getting old.
yeah,
Oh my
trust me,
goodness.
it goes by fast.
Oh my
Because
God.
I'm thinking of stuff that happened 10 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, 10 years ago I was living in Texas.
Wow.
And and then scripts I was living in Texas and scripts spun off their newspapers and I got downsized and I came back home,
Right.
which in a way was me being placed here before my mother got ill.
Hmm.
So that was set me up for being here at home. So at least God's plan. Anyway, so we got Mitch McConnell. So he'll be around, but not around after November. So it's going to be interesting to see who takes his position.
It,
Um,
it certainly should be.
it should be, but I think but this plays into what happened with all the primaries. Like I mentioned, South Carolina over the weekend, and then Michigan was on Tuesday,
Hmm.
and yeah, Michigan was last night. And
Yeah.
what was interesting is Joe Biden won spectacularly the Michigan primary. Donald Trump, of course, won the Michigan primary.
Yeah.
Nikki Haley did not.
Yeah.
Um, but what was interesting about the Michigan primary, 13% of the vote, or 100,000 voters, voted non-committed in the Democratic primary because they're upset with Biden over the Israel-Hamas war.
Hmm.
And and they want to be heard. They feel like their wishes are not being honored. They're Arab Americans. Michigan has a very heavy Arab American residents,
Yeah.
and in Ohio, especially in Cincinnati right now, Arab Americans have been speaking out regarding this, wanting a ceasefire. They spoke. 100 people spoke at Cincinnati City Council 2 weeks ago about this, and then they've been coming back every week to say, when the mayor was said, okay, we're not doing it, we're not going to do the resolution. Now they're coming out to speak, insisting on the resolution. And I was down there today because for their Black History presentations, several people were honored, and to hear our residents, Arab American residents, speak about what's happening in the Hamas and in the Israeli Hamas war, it's very heartbreaking.
Hmm.
It's very, very, I understand they want to cease fire, they want to save the people, things like that. And I commend them for speaking up and speaking out
Yeah.
and getting angry because no one is paying attention to what they want. And I'm just going to say that I commend you for what you did. I'm commending and watching what you pulled off in Michigan, but it's bigger than you
Yeah.
because there are other forces in play. Because number one, it's not America's war, it's between Israel and Hamas. America
Yeah.
is involved through supporting Israel because everyone has to remember history. We supported Israel when it was created after World War II. We were there. We have been staunch supporters. The Jewish lobby system has been in place and supported a number of policies and politicians for generations. Arab Americans have been here as well, but not to the same degree in terms of influence has been the same as the Jewish influence has been. But America has been there to support the Muslim community and the Muslim world. We are staunch supporters of several Arab countries, especially Jordan, who is our friend. We have a number of policies. We support their economic economy and everything else. So I think that as this continues on, it needs to be tempered while we go through this primary because Ohio's primary is coming up soon,
Yeah.
and we'll be part of Super Tuesday. And
Hmm.
we're already seeing the ads here talking about this, that, and the other, the immigration or economic policy, which Joe Biden has done a wonderful job recovering, our economy has recovered well through COVID compared to other countries.
Right.
We're doing extremely well. And I just
Hmm.
say that we need to temper how we feel about the Israeli Hamas war. I feel for it, but I think you also have to understand why folks aren't speaking up, because it's bigger than what you want. And
Yeah.
it, and again, it's not our war. We're
Yeah.
in it, but it's not our war. But because I think, isn't Israel a NATO country? I can't
Actually, I'm
remember.
not sure if they're a NATO
But we
country or
have a
not.
treaty to support Israel
Yeah.
and help fight for Israel or support Israel. That's the reason why Biden's on the phone with Netanyahu all the time.
Yeah.
And Netanyahu is not agreeing to a lot of stuff, even though there are negotiations going on for a ceasefire so humanitarian efforts can go in and save people and get some people out. Again, though, it's not our war.
Yeah. That's basically how I feel. It's really not our war. But it's like we're the superpower of the world, so we're
We're
dragged in
the
and no
we're,
matter what.
we are the world's police officer, and I think also I'll stand up for humanity every single time. I don't want anyone to suffer, and I
No,
think
yeah.
what the Palestinians are going through, they should not be going through. Hamas has done them a great disservice.
Hmm.
They deserve their own state, because originally they had their own state until Israel got created and they got moved out. I've been to Jordan. I've visited the former refugee camps. I've spoken with families who went through being moved from Palestine into Jordan and other places. And so I understand everything very, very well. But it's not our war.
Yeah.
And I think the reason, because it's not, that's the reason why you're not hearing a number of voices speaking up and out over what is happening in Gaza. And no one should go without food, water, healthcare. War is ugly. War is bad. People should not be suffering like that. It doesn't give Israel the right to do a whole bunch of stuff they've done to a number of Palestinian residents in Gaza. They should not be doing that. But at the same time, I understand why Arab Americans are frustrated. They want a ceasefire. Biden's trying to get something in place. They're not going to get everything, but they're going to get something. I believe they're going to get something. The whole thing is bigger than them. And
Yeah. I usually, like to say that you have to compromise on, a lot of political issues because that's how bipartisan, agreements have been done in the past. If you leave the table a little unhappy, then, something works. Although I will say that the whole Israel Hamas situation, it's compromise is going to be a little harder for this issue, and that's all I'll say about that.
yeah, her compromise will be difficult. And I think something, some positives will come out of it. I think one positive should be the Palestinians getting their own country.
Yeah.
Um, and I think even though Hamas attacked Israel, what Israel has done to the folks in the Gaza Strip is not great. Them trying to bomb Hamas out of existence and then is destroying families. People have moved several times trying to get away from the war, and they're suffering. I mean, the stories that we heard in front of city council was horrible and sad and heartbreaking. But at the same time, I think in certain minds, democracy, we need to save America, ceasefire. Which one will you choose to support?
Yeah, it's definitely a very complicated issue, and I find myself trying to because it's like it's one of those morally gray questions. It's not black and white like, a lot of wars are. This is probably like, be honest with you, this is probably like the most morally gray conflict that I've encountered definitely in my lifetime. But
That's the best way to describe morally gray
yeah.
conflict. It's unreal. I mean, it's kind of sad because what the people, the Palestinians are going through is kind of like what people went through during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
No food, no work, no, housing, nothing. I think we just didn't have bombs dropping on us compared to, or, you know, um, uh, just guns going off, bombs going off. We don't, our housing being destroyed. I mean, and we have the Ukraine war going on as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is another front for democracy. Because if
hmm
Ukraine goes, then we it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
So, and
Oh,
and North Korea is getting backed by Russia, so that's another issue as well. They're
yeah.
no longer seeking unification. They're getting bombs. They're getting the nuclear bombs. They are
Yeah.
gearing up for something. And Kim Jong Un one day is going to do something.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on that we need to juggle. But anyway, that being said,
Yeah.
but I think it's great that Biden won, Trump won. So we'll see what happens on Super Tuesday, but we pretty much know who the combatants will be for the November election for the presidency. I think Biden has some messaging issues still that he needs to get together. I think some of it is getting through, but some is not. I think Trump is getting through, but again, he's not getting through. But he continues, as he wins, he loses.
Yeah.
He's losing people, and it's primary wins is not the November election win. And there were some people calling for, if Trump doesn't win in November, they're calling for um, violence. And I'm like, how? Why? Because your guy didn't win?
Yeah.
It's just it's getting crazy. It's getting very, very crazy. But anyway, that being said, I think we do want to look at what South Carolina says about Trump and Nikki Haley. One, Nikki Haley, she didn't win her home state, which is kind of like a no-no in a presidential election.
It's pathetic.
I mean, Trump didn't win New York when he won.
I
But
mean, yeah, that's true, but
but
it's
still,
but the thing was, it's like, it's like Nikki Haley hasn't won anything.
no,
So,
she's gotten pittance here and there. She keeps, but I think the bigger picture of what's being shown um about the exit polling from South Carolina, a lot of people made up their minds early about who they were going to vote for in the primary. A lot of people, they like Trump. Some people don't like Trump. I mean, it goes to show. But I think at the same time, Trump, close to 70% of South Carolina primary voters identify themselves as Republicans. And then roughly 8 in 10 describe themselves as conservatives, with about 4 in 10 calling themselves very conservative. Trump had the support of 80% of the voters who describe themselves as very conservative, which is interesting. Nikki Haley won over a small majority of those who consider themselves somewhat conservative and the moderates, which is a continuing echo throughout the campaign, that she's continued to win those over compared to what Trump is getting. Trump is getting the working man to the poor, while Nikki Haley is getting the middle class to the educated and rich, so to speak.
right.
Um, but I would say three quarters of those, without 3/4 of those that supported Donald Trump do not have a college degree. They might have an associate degree, and they might be trained in a skill, or just your average blue collar worker. Those who are supporting Trump, which is interesting. Biden has some of the support of the working man and that, but not as much as you think, because he has the support of the unions leaders, but some of the union workers are not siding with Biden. That's an issue.
Yeah.
But, then again, what is the key? What is, I think what South Carolina is telling everyone is who's talking to the average worker and what message is getting through. And also, it's more about what message do they want to believe the most that speaks to their own beliefs. I think, if they're supporting Trump, they have a bias that you can't change or filter out. Those who don't support Trump, they're more for a more engaged, integrated America, because the more you have, the better off you are. So I think that's what the exit polling from South Carolina is telling us about this election. Better, shore up your messaging. It's telling you who you're reaching, who you're not reaching. And I think also take a look at what Trump is doing to get his message across compared to what the liberals are doing and what they're not getting across. So that being said, it's very, 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 very interesting. And one thing that came out of the primary is why does Trump try to get Black people? Why? Why does he even try?
I I don't know. I just
I
I think the man says so much crazy stuff that I just there's like an automatic thing in my brain. I just like filter it out now.
I know there
I mean, unless he actually does shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, it's like and I'm just gonna say, yeah, whatever.
I'm my thing is, one, they're Black Republicans. I understand we're all conservative to a point, but at the same time, why would you support a party that doesn't like you? I understand you have common beliefs, but at the same time, why would you support a party that would rather see you back saying yes sir, no sir, sorry, Mrs. No sir, regulate you again than have you keep what you have and move forward? Just saying. Not that I'm painting the Republican Party, because there are some decent Republicans out there who believe in the wealth of America and what everyone can bring to the table. But Trump spoke to the Black Conservative Federation Gala in South Carolina. Okay, that's scary, the fact that there's a Black Conservative Federation Gala. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, he basically tried to forge a connection with the Black people by saying that because of his multiple criminal indictments, that he understands the historical struggle of Black America. Because he had because he
Okay.
has because he has a mugshot. He thinks all Black people have mugshots, that we should support him because we understand his plight of being criminally indicted but not convicted.
Okay.
Yeah, that I thought I'd give you a little giggle. Anyway, um, I swear, there have been so many opinions written about his speech that he gave. Basically, he's blowing it. Well, he has blown it for some time, but I mean, he's just again privileged of what he believes, that we should do what he says, see what he says, and because we have a common denominator, a mugshot, that we need to go with him because we're all crooks. And because we're all crooks, we should all join together and support him. Knowing that if he gets in office, he would try to take away everything that we have and own.
Sure.
Yeah. That being said,
Yeah.
anyway,
Hmm.
so I'm going to talk about something that hasn't been talked about in a while. How many remember Jam Master Jay? Now I'm reaching back. I'm going back, way back, about 20 years or so. But two men were found guilty for the 2002 killing of Run DMC, Jam Master Jay. Now, Run DMC was a fantastic rap group. They did cross over from just rap to pop. They were really, really good. They were mentored by Russell Simmons. And, anything Russell Simmons created and touched was gold. So he did a great job producing Jam Master Jay. But his death, Jam Master Jay's death, was 21 years ago. A jury found two men guilty of his murder. They were convicted on Tuesday. They faced the minimum of 20 years in prison to a maximum life sentence. Jam Master Jay, for those who don't know who he is, was born Jason Mizell. And Mizell was 37 at the time. He was the DJ for Run DMC, which included Joseph Run Simmons and Daryl DMC McDaniels. By the way, Joseph Simmons is the brother to Russell Simmons. So the group is considered one of the first mainstream acts in hip hop, and they had such hits as It's Like That and It's Tricky, some other stuff, in the 80s. If you're around in the 80s, you know who I'm talking about. The early years of hip hop and rap music. Ooh, I can say that, the early years. Ooh, anyway. Um, but what was sad is that Jason Mizell, Jam Master Jay, he was killed in his recording studio. And the two gentlemen who were convicted of him were, I forgot to say their names, Ronald Washington and Carl Jordan Jr. Now, Carl Jordan Jr. happened to be the godson of Jam Master Jay, which is itself sad. But what happened was they entered his record studio and through a side door or through a fire escape, and they were upset because they were cut out of the deal. Now, what many didn't know that even though Jam Master Jay was had loads of success, he was selling cocaine on the side. He was a drug dealer.
Yeah.
And in August of 2002, he received 10 kilograms on consignment of cocaine to sell in Maryland. Washington and Jordan were supposedly brought in on the deal, which was worth over $200,000. But after a disagreement between Washington and another participant, Mizell, Jam Master Jay, cut Washington and Jordan out of the deal. They were mad. They were so mad that they decided, this was in August, but they decided in October of 2002 that they sought revenge, and they in his Jam Master Jay's recording studio in Jamaica, Queens, and shot him. Jam Master Jay happened to be playing video games. He was going over some documents with his business manager, and basically they shot Jam Master Jay twice in the head. His business manager got shot. Another person got shot as well, and that's sad. So they have been convicted. So that 20-year lull between murder and conviction has finally happened. So hopefully, Jam Master Jay's family can feel a sense of relief that they now know who did it. They've been convicted, and it can be laid to rest. So there's that, unfortunately. But another issue in the entertainment industry, Whoopi Goldberg wants to redefine Black representation by establishing a family-friendly streaming app for the Black family, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
It's a great, I mean, there's already a lot of streaming apps out there. So she's entering a very crowded market, but she is going to put together this TV landscape, and is going to put on this streaming app. I don't know what it's going to be called.
Oh, I think it was called let
Is
me
it
see.
Blkfam?
Yeah, that's
Is
what it's called. Yeah, it
oh
just
oh so
did.
oh
Yeah, it just didn't have like the B and the B and the no, it has the B. I'm sorry. It doesn't have the AC in black.
Okay, I thought it was, you know what? I thought when I saw this, I thought it was just, okay, they're just doing shorthand in the headline. I didn't realize that was the name of the platform.
Yeah.
Um, oh, okay. So it's been launched, actually it launched on February 26th. across multiple platforms. They are going to show about a library of featuring over 20 syndicated series. It's about 1,000 hours of animation titles and dozens of animated characters of color with diverse gender experiences, original music content, and some other things. She is an equity investor in this. It's a groundbreaking initiative with Larry Adams, a digital media veteran and CEO of the platform. They're looking to show shows with only people of color, nothing else, but positive images for the Black family, not negative ones.
That's
It's gonna.
that's that's great.
I think it's great, but I wonder if they're gonna. One of the rising digital content coming up in the streaming is the African TV shows.
Right.
I wonder if they're gonna do that, show more of those on there, which would be interesting, or at least Canadian TV if they have anything like that. Um, it's gonna be interesting to see what they come up with. So
Yeah.
I support that. Actually, I'm gonna have to go look for that on my streaming because I have a Roku and I have an Amazon Fire Stick.
Oh yeah,
So
me too.
so if it's on there, I'm gonna add it to the mix and see what happens, as long as we don't have to pay for it because
Oh yeah.
I'm already paying for too much.
Well, you know what? It's probably gonna be like one of those what the streaming services with the commercials. I'm trying to think what they're called.
Oh, you mean like
What-
Pluto
yeah,
TV?
like Pluto or Tubi. It's probably gonna be like one of those.
Oh, or Roku. I think Roku has some of that for free as
Yeah,
well.
and then there's a Roku channel, but that's what I think it would probably be. At least I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm thinking though.
Well, what's going to be interesting is that she's going to show Blackish, A Different World, Living Single, and Cosby Show, fan
Mm,
favorites.
okay.
So that'll be
Yeah.
fun.
I like those type of channels, like to have in the background and everything, because like sometimes when I do work, if I'm watching like a streaming series, if I'm watching like I don't know, it's kind of like comfort
Mm-hmm.
food,
Oh
something like
yeah,
that. It just reminds me of like, like like old time TV because
oh yeah,
I
definitely.
can't believe I'm saying that. But yeah, it's just like, I was growing up, it's just like
Well,
just watching TV with commercials. And now, I got so I just put on Pluto TV sometimes when I'm working and just have it on the background. And, it's just, I don't know. It's weird. I
Well, I
can't believe I'm
mean,
saying
I think
that.
I wonder if she's gonna get like Good Times and all remember all the 70 TV shows with
Yeah.
which were also of a great influence. I wonder if they're gonna get those as well to show because I think that's good exposure of values, family, and what we hold dear in the Black community, what we, what is our tradition, like Family Willis, where we're all taught how to have extra money in the house or on the side somehow. When her father testified and said, that's a Black thing.
hmm
People didn't understand that. That's a
Right.
cultural thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see what we can expose to our young people to think something different than just something shoot them up and other stuff.
Right.
But last but not least, I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if I'm gonna be there on that day, but opening day is less than a month away. Actually, it is a month. A month from today is opening day.
I can't believe that.
Can you believe that?
I
And
can't.
they named they named the two grand marshals for the opening day parade, which will be Calvin Pokey Reese and Dimitri Young, two former Reds baseball players that were on the teams back, I think, in the 1990s.
Yeah.
When we still won a World Series or at least made the playoffs.
Yeah, I
One of those
remember.
teams.
Yeah, I
Remember?
remember. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that I hope we can get back to that again.
Yeah, that'd
You
be
know,
nice.
because I need to get in anticipation. I have to go get new red stuff because I like their black uniforms. I really like that.
Oh
So I
yeah.
need to go get something. Anyway, so they are going to be the grand marshals for the parade. Also, the honorary grand marshal for the parade, if everyone remembers Jim Scott from WLW Radio, he is going to be at the podium announcing the grand marshals and things like that. So he's going to participate just a little bit. And I'm looking forward to looking at the parade, seeing the parade, hearing the parade, and seeing them lead, lead the forefront. Jim Scott will be in the lead car as the honorary grand marshal. He's going to be the first off leading the parade, and then Dimitri and Pokey, was it Dimitri Young and Pokey Reese, Calvin Pokey Reese? They'll come through along later as the grand marshals of the parade. So I think it's a wonderful way to honor our Reds past and also a great local radio legend that we'll get to see again, even though we don't hear his voice anymore on the radio. What's a great way to honor history, honor Cincinnati, what's important to Cincinnati, and because I remember going to school listening to Jim Scott in the morning, getting the news, the weather, and finding out whether or not school was open because it was a snow day. Okay, that just told my age, but anyway, that being said, go baseball. Well, at least
Yeah.
they're in training right now, so haven't really paid attention to the training reports because I want them to get in it and very slowly see what's going to happen. But it looks promising. It looks promising. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But that is all the chocolate news for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. And yeah, that's it for today's show. So I want to thank Andrea again for all that good chocolate news. Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, you're welcome.
And remember, folks, you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.cincinnatiherald.com, the Sesh newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Our podcast is on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. And remember, folks, we are taking a break next week. So we will see you not next week, but we'll see you the week after that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm John Alexander Reese,
And I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.